Hello everyone. Today we will see odd ratio and I'll solve one numerical based on that. What is odd ratio? It shows an association between an exposure and an outcome. So an odd ratio is a statistical measurement that compares the odds of an ratio, odds of an event occurring in one group versus another. What it measures? Odd ratio measures an odd ratio quantifies the likelihood of an event like a disease, like a heart disease or whatever, happening in an exposed group. For example, people who have heart disease and at the same time they are exposed to cigarette smoking, and in another group there are people who are not exposed to cigarette but still they are suffering with heart disease. So an odd ratio quantifies the likelihood of an event like a disease happening in an exposed group compared to a non-exposed group, right? When it's used, it is most frequently used in case control studies to determine if an exposure is a risk, if an exposure is a risk factor for an outcome. Now we will come to the value. If the value of odd ratio is equal to 1, the odds of the event are the same in both the group that are exposed and the group that are not exposed. If the odd ratio is greater than 1, the odds of the event are higher in the exposed group, suggesting the exposure may be at risk factor. And if the odd ratio is less than 1, the odds of the event are lower in the exposed group. Okay, now we will see the effect. I'm taking one example. We will see the effect of cigarette smoking on heart disease, right? Suppose in group 1 there are 45 patients or 45 people, and group B there are another 45 patients. Abbreviation of patients says PTNS, I suppose, right? And these are the group who have heart disease, and this is the group they don't have heart disease, right? Now we will set up the table. To calculate the odd ratio, right? Exposed, unexposed. This is the group. They are exposed to cigarette smoking and they are unexposed to cigarette smoking, right? And the case, disease case, first I will take disease case. And the second will be control group. Okay, now exposed. It is group A. There are 31 people, 31 who had disease and were exposed to cigarette. These 31 people who had disease and they were exposed to cigarette. Now B, for example, we take 6 people. These 6 people who did not have disease, because they are in control group, they did not have disease and they were exposed to cigarette smoking. The third group, we take 14 because this is 31 and 14, total 45. These are the people in the C group. They are the people who had disease and were not exposed to cigarette smoking. And now in group D, they are 39 because 39 and 6, 45, 39 people who did not have disease and were unexposed to cigarette smoking. Okay. Now we will calculate the odd ratio. First of all, I will write down the formula of odd ratio. The formula of odd ratio is odds that a case was exposed. In our case, exposed to cigarette smoking. Divided by, the denominator will be odds that a control was exposed. Okay. Now we will cross multiply this table. We will cross multiply like this. We will multiply A with D and B with C. After cross multiplication, multiplication, it will be A into D divided by B into C. In our example, 31 into 39, 6 into 14. So it will be 31 into 39 divided by 6 into 14. And the result will be 14.39 or approximately 14.4. Right. So the odds of heart disease is 14 times higher or 14 times more likely in the patients exposed to cigarettes than patients not exposed to cigarette, because this value is very high. So the odds of heart disease is 14 times more likely in the patients. 14 times more likely in the patients exposed to cigarettes. Okay, I hope this was pretty clear to all of you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.